He was powerful, muscular, and feared in the corporate world. Ethan Knight, a ruthless billionaire CEO, had built his empire from nothing. Luxury brands, tech companies, private jets and mansions. People admired him, others feared him. But behind all the wealth and power, there was one thing missing: an heir, a legacy, someone to carry on the Knight name. At every business gala, his competitors proudly stood with their children, smiling for cameras, while Ethan posed alone. To the world, he looked untouchable. But every night in his penthouse, staring at the city skyline, he felt the same emptiness. What good is an empire if there's no one to inherit it? Marriage wasn't an option. Ethan believed love was weakness, a distraction he could never afford. But he needed an heir. His solution? Surrogacy. To him, it was simple. Just another contract. Just another business deal. Nothing more. Within weeks, his lawyers arranged everything. A young woman was chosen. Her name was Grace Miller. She was quiet, reserved, and visibly nervous when she signed the contract. Ethan barely looked at her. For him, it was done. "Follow the rules," he said coldly. "This isn't a relationship. No emotions, no complications." Grace nodded, whispering softly, "I understand, sir." Her voice carried more fear than agreement. Days turned into weeks. Then came the shocking discovery. During a routine checkup, the doctor pulled Ethan aside, hesitating before speaking. "Mr. Knight, there's something you should know. Grace, she's a virgin." The words hit him like thunder. Ethan's jaw tightened. How was that possible? A surrogate? A virgin? His fists clenched as fury consumed him. That night, he summoned Grace to his glass-walled office. Grace stood trembling as Ethan's voice cut like a blade. "Did you think you could trick me? Cheat me? You're a virgin, so tell me, how do you plan to fulfill this contract?" Her eyes filled with tears. "I didn't lie. I didn't even know what I was agreeing to. My family forced me into this. They told me it was safe, that it was just a medical procedure. I had no choice. My father's debts, we were drowning. This was the only way." For the first time, Ethan saw her not as a surrogate, not as a contract, but as a broken human being. A girl forced into sacrifice by a cruel world. Something inside him shifted. Slowly, he began to see her differently. He started talking to her more, asking small things. "What books do you like? What do you dream about?" And piece by piece, Grace revealed her soul. She spoke of her small hometown, of how she once dreamed of becoming an architect, of how her father's drinking destroyed their family. She had sold her future to save them. Ethan, who had always believed weakness was a crime, found himself listening in silence. For the first time, he felt something he had buried for years: empathy. One evening, he found Grace crying alone in the hospital corridor. Without thinking, Ethan sat beside her. For the first time in his life, the ruthless CEO reached out and wiped away someone's tears. His voice softened. "You don't have to go through this alone anymore." That moment changed everything. But the world didn't approve. His investors were furious. "This is bad for business, Knight. You're risking everything for some girl." His mother, a proud socialite, was harsher. "She's beneath you, a nobody. She can never be part of this family." Ethan was torn. His empire on one side, Grace's innocence on the other. Then came the twist that shattered him. A new medical file arrived, hidden in the reports. Grace was already pregnant, and it had happened before the contract even began. He confronted her, his voice trembling with betrayal. "Tell me the truth, Grace. What are you hiding from me?" She looked down, silent at first. Then, with tears streaming down her face, she whispered, "This is my secret. But the child I carry, it's not only mine, it's yours." Ethan froze. His mind raced back, months earlier, a charity gala, a late-night drive, one night he thought he had forgotten. A moment of weakness, that now bound them forever. For the first time, Ethan realized this wasn't a deal. This wasn't a mistake. This was fate. He looked into Grace's tear-stained eyes and finally spoke the words he never thought he could. "You're not just my legacy. You're my life." But their battle was only beginning. The board threatened to remove him. His investors plotted behind his back. The media smelled blood, hungry for scandal. His mother disowned him. The world turned against them. Yet Ethan stood tall. For once, the man who had always chosen empire over people made a different choice. "I'll burn down everything I've built," he declared, "but I will never give her up, or our child." And so began a love story that defied power, wealth, and society itself. A muscular CEO and a simple girl, fighting not just for survival, but for love. But what they didn't know was that the greatest storm of their lives hadn't even started yet.